Summer is still with us, but the carefree days are fading fast. So make sure you keep the good times rolling with some fun activities before the summer is out. Come with me as I turn the pages of another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. Today we look at the cultivation of Jamaica's very own Blue Mountain coffee, as well as ways you may help your children improve their arithmetic skills at home. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be back after the news.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, August 11, 2023. The government is maintaining its position that it acted within the law to extend the retirement age for persons serving as Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, and Auditor General. Minister with responsibility for information Robert Morgan reiterated the stance on Wednesday in response to a question about the legal challenge being brought against the move.
The government acted within the law. The government acted constitutionally. There is no question about the legal process that the government put forward. So we are a bit interested in hearing what the court has to say. We respect the court, but we do not believe, based on the frivolous grounds on which this claim was laid, that it would be successful.
Minister Morgan was addressing this week's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. Legislation was passed last month in both houses of Parliament to raise the age of retirement for holders of the offices of the Director of Public Prosecutions and Auditor General from 60 to 65 years. The changes are in alignment with the Pensions Public Service Act, which was promulgated in 2017 to, among other things, gradually increase the retirement age of public officers to 65 years. The St. James Police Division is already reporting success from a comprehensive 14-day operation launched on Tuesday, targeting criminals in the parish. The security operation has resulted in the recovery of 4 illegal guns in Salt Spring. The weapons, which were seized on Thursday, August 10, include 3 high-powered rifles and a handgun. One of the rifles is identified as a versatile multi-caliber weapon capable of firing various types of ammunition. Acting Commanding Officer for the St. James Police Division, Superintendent Aaron Samuels, tells JIS News that the operation reflects the officer's commitment to capturing wanted individuals, disarming them, and restoring peace and security to the area. He says the seizure of the weapons is expected to significantly curtail gang influence and reduce the threat to residents. The acting commanding officer also outlines plans to extend similar operations to other hotspot areas across the St. James Division. The police will be conducting multiple daily operations, including vehicle checkpoints and targeted interventions in less frequently patrolled areas. This will include going after wanted persons on the police's radar and generally maintaining a strong presence to ensure persons can feel safe and secure living in the St. James region. In addition to law enforcement efforts, Superintendent Samuel says the St. James Police have been actively engaged in social intervention activities within the Salt Spring community. These include a recently concluded 2-week youth summer camp, which saw the participation of 96 students from Salt Spring Primary School. The camp aimed to foster positive interactions between the youth and various community service agencies, including the police and the fire brigade. The acting commanding officer is calling on citizens to actively collaborate with law enforcement officers as they intensify efforts to ensure safe and secure communities in the parish. Small farmers seeking to expand or improve their operations can seek out grant funding from the Agri-Investment Corporation, AIC. The agency will be establishing a matching grant scheme for small farmers through the Southern Plains Agricultural Development SPAD project. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is urging farmers to contact the AIC for details.
This groundbreaking initiative is designed to empower and uplift small farmers by providing them with up to 80% of essential resources towards their farming enterprise.
Mr. Holness was speaking at the 69th staging of the Denby Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show. The major objective of the Southern Plains Agricultural Development Project is to upgrade irrigation, drainage, and road networks, as well as post-harvest handling facilities. These are located on agro parks at Amity Hall and Bridgepen in St. Catherine and Parnassus in Clarendon. The initiative is being funded through a grant of approximately £16.7 million from the United Kingdom Caribbean Infrastructure Fund and is being administered by the Caribbean Development Bank. Groundbreaking to kickstart a major redevelopment of the Spanish Town Hospital is anticipated within the next 2 months. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton gave the update on Wednesday as he toured the St. Catherine-based hospital.
I anticipate that we will see groundbreaking for the main building within the next 2 months or so. We have gotten all the approvals now from our multilateral partners that we're working with. It now has to work its way through to the cabinet, which I am sure will be excited about, pushing ahead. And you will see some active work taking place.
The redevelopment project will transform the Spanish Town Hospital into a 6-story, 100-bed facility. It will accommodate 7 operating theaters, a new accident and emergency center, a new pharmacy, and laboratory with diagnostics and other support services. Medical services at the hospital will also be expanded to include cardiology, hematology and oncology, gastroenterology, ophthalmology, and ENT. During his visit, Dr. Tufton toured a building that had been newly retrofitted and repurposed to accommodate existing facilities on the grounds of the hospital. It will clear the way for construction to start on the new 6-story complex.
This facility here, which will house lab services, pharmacy services, including waiting areas, testing areas, collection of medication, storage, is more than twice the size of what it was in its original place, all of which is intended to create a much better facility for the people while we transition to the main building.
And finally, Managing Director of the Heart NSTA Trust, Dr. Tanisha Ingleton, is assuring Jamaicans that the entity's programs and services meet international standards and are aligned to the current and emerging needs of employers. Dr. Ingleton was responding to a query during Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. She says Heart continues to collaborate with critical players to ensure that its programs meet the island's employment demands.
We do work with industry to create all our programs. As a matter of fact, if industry does not sign off on a program, it cannot be offered. And so we have been working with World Skills International for the standards. We also collect data from the World Economic Forum to ensure that we have all the global standards incorporated in our training.
Dr. Ingleton says Heart NSTA Trust programs are offered using the experiential learning model, where students learn through a mixture of theory, practice, and reflection. Since April 1, Heart courses up to level 4 and associate degree level have been offered free of administrative and tuition fees. The government directive is aimed at increasing the trained labor force on the island. So far, the trust has seen a 19% increase in the take-up of programs when compared to 2022. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is one of the world's rarest, and the island's peculiar growing conditions give it an unmistakable flavor to relish, while people enjoy its wide variety of health benefits. Here's what you should know.
Everything in nature speaks, and it's for us to appreciate nature's dialect. The chirping of the birds, the whispers of the trees. A sound of life, a sound of earth's delight.
It's in the discovery of the essence of life that we get to partake in the nation's offspring. It's coffee, the signature taste of Jamaica.
Drink bowl of boiling coffee. Morning. I get up like 4:30 in the morning. 4:30. Pretty early. First thing I do, I give the Creator thanks for waking me up, right? And then I pack my little bag and I head to the farm. Once you're in the farm, you connect with nature, right? Just like how the plants grow, that's the spirit that you have. I'm Stephen Hibbert, CEO of Exotic Blue Coffee Company, also the farmer of Exotic Blue Coffee Farm. Agriculture is a way of life for us who live in the mountain. Hence, I decided on going into coffee, and the reason for that, I have a full-time job, a job that takes me all over the island, right? Sometimes internationally as well. So I had to plant something that I don't have to be nurturing like a baby, 365 days a year. Hence, coffee was my dream call, and I grabbed it with both hands. You look on the stages of coffee. The coffee becomes white, that's the flowering. Then it becomes green, that's the berries start to form, and you're watching, that's a little baby growing up, and then the coffee's turning red, it's ripe. And then it goes straight to the processing, and then from the processing to the consumer. What other joy there is.
Pause. How about taking us through the process?
I bring coffee to you from the seed to the cup. What do I mean? The coffee is planted, I planted the coffee, right? Once the coffee is planted and nurtured and start to produce in about 2 years' time, the coffee is now processed. So once it is reaped, it is taken from the farm. And when we take it from the farm, it weighs 60 pounds. So just to take that out on your head, right? The passion in navigating those mountains, those slopes, right? Those 60-degree slopes. When coffee is planted, especially when they're young, it has to be grown under certain shades. So your shade cover can't be that too dense. So we normally plant bananas planting throughout the field. And once it reaches a certain stage, when the coffee reaches like a 3-year-old, we can start to remove those bananas from the farm. The banana also takes the nutrients away from the coffee. So hence we don't really plant and keep the bananas into the farm. Most farmers are really suffering from that. Right, you have the sooty mole, you have the white flies, leaf miner, and so on. But the critical one is the coffee berry borer. These are some little weevil that lays hundreds of eggs into the coffee. So field sanitation is crucial to mitigate against such. And we can use like chemicals and so on, but I move away from the chemical. I try to go the natural way. So what I do is set some traps in the farm to trap those berry borers. And also use field sanitation, ensure that the dry coffee comes off the tree and the earth is dug up and they are buried, right? That's how I mitigate against the coffee berry borer. But there are real pests to the coffee. Now the coffee is now taken where it is processed, which is washed, pulped, and dry. The drying process takes you sometimes 3 weeks to dry, sometimes 4 weeks, based on the weather or the temperature in the mountains here. Once the coffee is now dry, it is rested. It stays in the storeroom for 8 weeks, minimum 8 weeks. After it is rested, it is now hulled, which goes to another machine. The machine cleans up the coffee, and then it is graded. Once this roast, we now grind, and I can give you a different style of roast based on what the consumer wants.
There's the Italian roast, the Turkish roast, the city and full city roasts, the dark roast, and the medium roast. It is ultimately entirely up to you to decide on the roast that best suits your palate.
The coffee is then packaged and delivered. 2 years ago, we weren't making any money out of coffee, right? Because I used to sell my coffee to the processors, right? And there are a number of processors in Jamaica. It's hard work, very, very hard work. You have to be dedicated to be a coffee farmer. Sometimes the price is not right? But you still have to dig deep and bring good coffee to the consumer. Sometimes when your consumer call you, your customer call you and say, this coffee is the bomb. It gives you that energy, so you want to go more. Jamaica is prized, the coffee is prized, and you are a part of that process. It gives you that spirit inside of you to go further. I would encourage young people to get involved in farming, get involved in coffee. Now, the more people we get in coffee, we can produce more coffee to send to the globe. It is a sought after coffee. It's one of the best coffee in the world right now. Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee.
It's that deep, rich coffee flavor.
That is the signature of Jamaica.
you are now on air.
Okay, so I recently graduated from high school and I'm nervous about what's next. Some motivation would help.
All right, caller, we have just what you need.
What you are getting today is a passport to the world. And you are going to decide how high your plane will fly. Because even though you have a passport, it doesn't mean that there won't be turbulence in the sky and some scary moments where you have to hold on to your seat and have faith that you will make it. I want you to remember the 5 important P's that help me to be successful. Positivity, perseverance, professionalism, progressiveness, and having a prosperous spirit. I can guarantee you that if you follow that template in life, you will be successful.
Parents, don't pass up opportunities to get your children learning math in a fun way while they're not in school. Do you want to know how? Our following feature will provide some insight.
What is it, my daughter?
I can't do that maths here.
All right. Let me take a look at it now.
Math can seem daunting, but there are a few things you can do to support your child at home. One area to look at is games. We all play games on a regular basis, especially children. And how much fun would it be to tie mathematics into the games they play?
There's a very interesting notion that is put forward. And that notion is the fact that the things that we are interested in are the same things that we seem to do well in. Now, if it is that around our interest there's also a heightened level of performance, or we seem to learn things much faster when we are in tune, it therefore becomes important for us to actually put emphasis on making mathematics an interest. Because once we begin to allow our students or our children to see the fun in math and begin to develop a level of interest, it is at that point in time you will find that they may learn the concepts much faster.
Arithmetic helps us in keeping track of time, conducting business, and making plans.
In reinforcing the math from home, we have to do a few things. One, you could, while cooking or baking, allow your child to come forward and to share the math concepts that they were exposed to in school. I'm sure while you're cooking something, your child can apply some measurement skills, some conversions, some looking at the beakers and so on. Additionally, we know that at times we do some amount of sorting and organizing. There's always a shelf somewhere to be packed, a cabinet to be reorganized, some things to be moved around. This is an opportunity to allow your child to use their spatial awareness, to be able to look at shapes.
Do you want to know what I do?
I find creative ways to incorporate the knowledge to them, because maths is not an easy subject. And most children will tell you, maths hard, but it's something that they need in their everyday life. So I find creative ways to put it to them in fun ways that we both can enjoy doing it together.
Some of the concepts that I believe that parents could pay a keen attention to is the number concept, like the simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division.
You have to know at least the basics. I mean, we're not going to tell them about the algebras and the other areas which is a little bit challenging to them, right. But at least know to make change, know how to know the difference between distance and time and things like those. I'll try to encourage all fathers at least to know the basic about the concept of maths. For the primary student, you use whatever they like. Okay. If they like food, they use food.
divide up the pizza. Show them how to divide it. If they like money, they're the children who love playing with money and love counting money. Use the money.
Look at your child textbook. You'd see the topics based on the child age group, all the topics that they'll go through throughout the entire year. And you can also consult with the teacher and find out what topic am I looking at now, so that you can use all the online resources.
We have to find out what is the root of the problem first. Is it that you're not understanding, or you're not grasping as much as you're being taught? Then that much we need to identify what are the weak areas, what are the problems. And once we can identify what is the problem, then we can actually try and fix it from there.
So we're not supposed to be thinking with our fixed mindset that there's only one way, so the teacher is doing it wrong. We could be doing it wrong, we might never know. So we'll have to be open to the fact that we're not the only person with an opinion, or this is not the only way of solving that one problem.
Parents, I want to encourage you today. When it is that your child comes home with the math book and you realize that the approach that is being taken to deliver the content is not the same way you are used to it, don't throw it aside and say, no, that's wrong, or that is harder, that's different. You need to embrace the approach.
There is many ways to help.
Right.
You don't have to help physically, but being there to sit down and to encourage the child, talk with them, or even while they're doing it, you look over and say, yes man, okay, try it this way. I mean, that is support.
Support your child and give them the push they need. In math, practice makes perfect.
It's a seasonal task, but with that seasonal task, it becomes a lifetime responsibility. Even when you're out of the parenthood in terms of the personal responsibility of the upbringing of that child, you're going to have the task of guiding that child into manhood or into adulthood. And I believe that that experience in taking the child through school, life itself is a school. So your process as a parent is a continuous one up until death.
We have a disaster that is of real concern. A man-made disaster which is out of indiscipline, ignorance, and disregard for the rules of the country. We are paying a severe price for this level of indiscipline that has taken over our roads. We are losing lives, young men. And right around the country, we are seeing this increase in fatalities and accidents on our roads. And I believe that as a country, we need to recognize what is happening. There are a number of things that we can do. I heard a gentleman said that he was encouraging persons not to take a taxi that has more than the required amount of passengers. And he said that he was lambasted. People cuss him out. There are things that we can do by not supporting the indiscipline of some of our drivers. And some of the same passengers will say to the driver, where you do go around and a man, say the man, they are going to leave you. And I believe this is something that as Jamaicans, we need to pay serious attention to. And it's not what the government is doing. Government alone can't do it. We need the support of every single Jamaican. When the new Road Traffic Act comes into effect, I'm hoping that I won't hear people saying that is only poor people the law was made for. Many who have died on our roads are not poor. Let us not get carried away. Let us not be overcome by the culture of earning $1. So a taxi man would drive on the wrong side of the road with a car full of passengers, including children, with no regards at all for the lives of those persons. In the same way in which we use social media and other forms of information to be critical and raise concerns about issues, let us start a campaign in this country about the carnage on our roads and what we as Jamaicans can do and is prepared to do.
The 69th staging of the annual Dembe Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show has ended, but the GIS was there and managed to catch up with a few of our young farmers. They tell us about their perspectives on farming.
To me, agriculture means a lot. I have a lot of produce here. Behind me, as you can see, have sweet pepper, sorrel, hot pepper.
Agriculture means a lot to me, a lot. It did a lot for me too. Not just mean a lot, it did a lot for me. So I would really like it every young people could try farming.
Agriculture means so much to me. It is the backbone in Jamaica. It is the way of life, the way to go. It's just about everything.
We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, jis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.